Good morning, viewers from around the world, and welcome to another broadcast of Competitive Edge. Today, as usual, promises to be another exciting day. Today, we will talk to you about the importance of doing your income audit analytics. So, in my presentation, I will look at income trap and debt trap. And I want to assure you this is a conversation that you should have had a long, long, long time ago. Why? Because once you're having this type of conversation, when it comes to your financial management, you're going to be in a much better position of strength to manage your money. So we will do a deep dive into that conversation today. So again, I want to encourage you to call a friend, tell a friend that the competitive edge is on, and there is Peter and there is Gary, and we're going to be doing a deep dive into critical issues that can help you find your competitive edge. Now, I must introduce my partner. We have Peter Gooscott, and Peter Gooscott, he's a pastor, but he's an entrepreneur, all right? And he has a major project that he's currently looking at and he's presenting to you. And that project really helps you to understand how to form your master plan, how to apply yourself at your master plan, and how to position yourself for success. So, without further delay, I'm going to ask Peter to give us, give you an introduction of himself. So, in the event that you're looking at this program for the first time, Peter no longer will be a stranger to you. So, Peter, all to you.
Great, great, beautiful, Gear, and it's wonderful so that we can be talking to our listening audience and to empower people to understand that the what they see in the world, and sometimes individuals looking out from their safe place and looking out at all the challenges that is in the world and in the marketplace, they can become so intimidated by by the prospects of how to succeed. But we have a platform here that is empowering people, and what we want to engage our community to understand that once they have a roadmap, once you have a roadmap that they have take the critical look at, and they have designed. Once they understand, so today what we want to look today is their substance, their systems, their structures, and their strategy. And when they can, develop those, four concepts to some degree, it will give them some confidence that as they step out into the marketplace, they can navigate their way and they will be successful in their endeavors.
Awesome. Thanks for that share, Peter. And I'm so excited today to do that deep dive into the income audit analytics. What is the income trap and what is the debt trap? All right. So we talk here about two traps. You could be trapped with the income and you could be trapped in debt. So I want us to do a soft analysis of what this is and to see how this can have an impact on your life. So just before I open up the conversation for that particular topic, I'm going to go for a break. So I'm going to ask you to call a friend, tell a friend that the competitive edge is on, and do invite them to come join this program. We are broadcasting across multiple social media platforms, so they can definitely get us there. So we go for a break.
Net Worth Investor's Guide, where art meets science. Explore tools, processes, and systems that empower you to accelerate your journey to a seven-figure business. Access smart funding solutions for 6- and 7-figure enterprises. Harness capital for multiple income streams. Master the art and science of debt mitigation to build wealth faster. Experience comprehensive business support to propel your success at a budget that suits you. The High Net Worth Investor's Guide is tools, processes, and systems that influences success. With 10X Branding and Marketing LLC. Our expert team specializes in enhancing your brand's visibility and connecting you with your ideal clients. We employ strategies that increase reach, leaving a lasting impact and driving client conversion. Trust and credibility are vital in businesses and excel in building them even with a limited budget. Our cost-effective approaches ensure you get the best results without overspending. Ready to boost your business cash flow? Contact us at 332-235 T99 and let 10X Branding and Marketing LLC guide you to success. Our focus is on elevating your visibility, which directly translates to growth. Experience the power of effective branding and marketing with us and witness your business thrive. Academia, public speaking, sports, law, medicine, or an influencer. Becoming a best-selling author can open doors to connect with top figures in various fields. Discover how the Bestseller Portal team can assist you. 1. Assisting clients in the creation, refinement, design, and publication of their books, biographies, and autobiographies. 2. Strategizing and executing promotional campaigns while navigating global markets and linguistic diversity to enhance the visibility of your literary works. 3. Nurturing our clients' transformation into esteemed public speakers and influential thought leaders. 4. Elevating your books into dynamic digital learning content. 5. Cultivating multiple streams of income from your literary works and beyond. Enroll today for the prestigious Bestseller Portal Annual Summit and position yourself as an eminent authority and trailblazer within your chosen sphere.
Okay, welcome back to the Competitive Edge. And I want to begin today's program by expanding on the concepts that I did hinted to you early on. In the world today, we see the majority of the people in the world, they have a single source of income. And in spite of knowing that that single source of income is not adequate enough to deal with your expenses, there's no game plan. There is no master plan. So I want to walk you through a couple of things today in terms of what does an income audit looks like. But just before again I go deep into that, I want to throw out a question. Now, we have seen again income trap versus debt trap. And what is the income trap? The income trap is where you're earning an income, but then you, for some reason, without even doing the income audit analytics, you tend to resign that the income is adequate, that the income is enough. And even in cases, as I said, that you see that your income is not enough to cover all of your overheads, you are still trapped in that single source of income. So what I'm saying here is that a single source of income can be as hurtful to you as going into debt and don't fully understand debt, which we call the debt trap. Because some people buy debt, you're happy now that you have another source of income, but then that debt is mismanaged and it creates a negative experience for you. The question that I want to put out, the person that is earning $100,000 has against a person that is earning $300,000. Who do you think is in a better position? Yes, you might want to assume that the person earning $300,000 is in a better position, but that is not actually so, all right? Because it is not how much you earn, it is how much you're able to keep and how much you're able to invest. Because the person that is earning, let's take, for example, $100,000, this might be one person earning $100,000. So out of that $100,000, they might be able to save a little bit as against the person who's earning $300,000. But then they have a spouse to take care of, they have kids to take care of, they have school, and all these scenarios to take care of. So when you do the income audit analytics, The income audit analytics really helps you to understand this. And let me go through a couple of things as to what this is. When we talk about the income audit analytics, we are simply saying to you that you should know your income against your expenditure. From your expenditure, you should be looking at your balance sheet. From your balance sheet, of course, you have future plans. Is your balance sheet adequate enough to get you there? And last but not least, you should be looking at your smart investment strategy. Take it into consideration that the single source of income often does not provide that cushion that you need to live the quality of life that you deserve. So I'm just going to go a little deeper into this now. We're seeing that over 60% of the global population depends on a single source of income. That can become an income trap. What steps can you take to elevate yourself above this trap? We'll talk about it as we go a little deeper in this program. A smart way of analyzing your income against your expenditure is to ask yourself, what are my expenses? For example, you have living expenses. All right. And those are things that you can take your time. You don't have to have a subject matter expert to help you define what is your, living expenses. You can do some of these things on your own. You have other expenses like your utilities. Utilities may comprise of electricity, gas, and water. These are things that you can do yourself as you do that soft audit of your income against your expenses. You have things like your rent. That's going to be a huge part of your expense. All right. These are things that you can document. And two other things I want you to consider here. There's what I call your emergency fund. You should be putting aside funds for emergency, because emergency are things that happens unexpectedly, and you want to be certain that you are prepared, particularly if you have a spouse, you have a kids. These are things that you should be budgeting for. All right. The last expense that I'm going to look at here is what I call the investment fund. Do you have an investment fund? These are things that you should be budgeting for. An investment fund is a special fund. And as I go a little deeper into today's program, I will also further expand on the term investment fund. So, important concepts for you to consider. Now, what we have seen happen very often with your single source of income, your primary source of income, when you measure it against the expenses that I've just talked about, you end up having what we call a negative balance or a deficit. All right? A negative balance or a deficit. Now, with a negative balance or a deficit, the future plans that you have for yourself, you cannot reach them. So the facts are showing for over 60% of the global population, when you do the income against the expenses, you don't have enough income to cover the expenses, much less to come to the future plan. And the future plans will look at things like early retirement plan. And this is something that you should be thinking about. I mean, life is not about, waking up and going to work for 49 years and not being able to enjoy the quality of life. Do you have an early retirement plan? Peter will talk to you about, some of these things when he's ready. But this should be part of your future plans. But when we look at your balance sheet, it is negative or a deficit. And with a negative balance sheet, a deficit, you cannot seriously consider the early retirement plan. The next thing I would love for you to consider is, as a family, you want to also consider the possibility of taking an all-inclusive family tour. This is what family do. Being able to take, a family tour and have quality time with the family is something that you want to see as part of your future plans. But again, with a negative balance sheet, you can look at these things. Another, future plans for you to consider here is children college funds. All right, children college funds. With a negative balance again, you cannot achieve this. Now, this definitely is part of the equation why we call it a income trap, because you become so comfortable with the income, but in spite of seeing that the income is inadequate to take care of your immediate and your future needs, you're still trapped here. All right, you're still trapped here. And the way to get out of the trap is to start looking at what we call your smart investment strategies. Now, what I'm gonna about to say, I don't want you to take any action on this because this particular part is not investment advice. You are not, I'm not saying telling you to go and do this. What you need to do is to get a professional on your side to help to guide you through this process. If you need our help, I encourage you to reach out to us so we can help you navigate that process. Do not attempt to do anything that I'm saying on your own. There's a couple of things that I will tell you before I end that you should do on your own, though. What is smart investment strategies? So, if you're seeing that your single source of income, your primary source of income, is inadequate to take care of your immediate and your future needs, you should have what we call a smart investment strategy. And some of the things that I want to see in your smart investment strategy, you want to invest in what I call your personal paycheck protection plan. This is at the top of the list. Why am I saying this? We saw when the world was shut down, and the world was shut down because of the global pandemic. The world was in a panic. You people lost their job security, they lost their income security, they lost a whole host of of things that they have grown accustomed to. Why? Because you didn't have a personal paycheck protection plan. Now, what does a personal paycheck protection plan looks like? We're not going to get into that today. The objective here is just to at least start to whet your appetite of how you should start thinking when you're doing your income audit. All right, you need to do this. All right, you don't want to be in that income trap with the perception that, hey, my income is big and I'm happy. But then the things that you want to do, for yourself and your loved ones and to safeguard your future, you can't do it. You're trapped in that, perception of income looks interesting. But doing the income audit is where you start to unlock all of these realities. Now, smart investment strategies. If your smart investment strategies is not telling you how to earn income daily, how to earn income weekly, how to earn income monthly, how to find income producing assets that can pay you when you sleep, it perhaps is a weak smart investment portfolio. Now, these are things that you can research. These are things that you can think about. These are things that my advice is to get professionals to work with you. And with a professional on your side, you will be given the mentorship and the guidance and the support, because investments should not be what I call front end analytics investment. It has to be back end. Front end meaning that, you heard something about smart ways of earning money and you just jump at it without being able to do the analytics. You make an emotional decision in getting into that investment portfolio. That's not what you want to do. Stay far away from that. All right. We don't want you to make that mistake. You want to, when you're making an investment decision, it should be a solid investment decision based on back end analytics. The difference between front end analytics, front end is more emotional decision making, back end analytics is where you have the data. You understand historical data. So you have, let us say, Amazon, or you have, Walmart, or you have, one of the successful companies who for the last 50, 75 years, they have been paying dividends out consistently over this period of time without fail. You want that kind of historical data. Whatever it is, you need data. In other words, what I'm saying here to you is that for the majority of people, research is showing that the single source of income, your primary source of income, is not working for you. It will never work for you. So we are suggesting to you that you should start thinking of multiple secondary income source. And there are many things and many ways in which you could go about this. Again, this is the part that I'm saying I'm not giving you advice, all right? Because I don't want you to go and make front end analytics. I want you to make back end analytics based on data. Depending on where you are, you may not be mature enough to make the back end analytics because you don't have the data. Get a professional to work with you. Now, multiple streams of income can come from many sources. You have REIT. Now, in the case that you have never heard of what REIT is the term that we call real estate investment trust. Now, the US government has been very instrumental behind this because it provides the average persons to invest in a REIT, and REIT is not there to put major amount of monies into the portfolio's holders' hands. It is there to provide return, significant return to the investors. That is you, the average person who's invested in the REIT. That's how it is structured. Perhaps this could be a very unique platform for you to start thinking to generate an income from. You have ETFs. ETF is what we call exchange trade funds. This is a unique investment portfolios because one might want to look at the S&P 500, and while you have the 500 top companies here, what they do, they select a handful of the top performing companies within the S&P 500, and what they do, they create an ETF from that. So you have the top of the top companies who are performing, that you now have an investment. You can invest in these operations. So these are just some thoughts that I'm sharing with you here. No investment advice. Get a professional to really help you navigate all of this. You have Vanguard Index, and Vanguard Index is one of the beautiful portfolios in which you could invest in because it pays you when you sleep. All right, it's another form of investment. Then you have the stocks, you have bonds, you have mutual funds. So you have a plethora of outlets that you can invest in. Yes, I know this. My audience come from across the world. And in the US, yes, you have access to this. But in developing economies, middle income economies, you may not necessarily have access to all of this. The possibility exists that through your merchant banks, you may be able to establish a merchant account and work with your merchant who can make this purchase across these areas that I've just talked about for you. So you can still have that investment portfolio. Perhaps you need to go to the ground and do some investigation, build some relationship with your merchant bank and see what they can do for you. But I'm saying to you, our mission here is to ensure that we're giving you the kind of information that you need so you can have that competitive edge in business and in life. What I'm saying here, I could swing this over to business, but I want to speak more on that personal, the softer side here today. But you may have to do some legwork, or you may have to get a professional on your side that can help you navigate this. The next smart investment strategy that I want to talk about is what I call independent investment portfolios. Yes, you don't have to go to the REITs. You don't have to go to the ETF. You don't have to go to Vanguard. You don't have to go to stocks, or bonds, and mutual funds or hedge funds. You can develop, your independent investment portfolios, but it requires skill sets. It requires specialized knowledge to be able to do this and to do it well. Again, you don't want to make an emotional decision, All right. When you start in a business for yourself, this is very much an independent investment portfolio that you are starting here. But do you know business enough to commit the time, talent, and the resources in the right way to ensure that it's going to cash flow optimize the way you want it to safeguard your short and long term future? Important. So, again, get a professional. We're here to give you the support that you need. But yeah, of course, you don't have to come to us. But when you come to us, that you need to make smarter, better business decisions. There's two more things that I want to say just before I hand you over to Peter, and he will talk more about the master plan. All of this ties into the master plan. Now, this is what I want to recommend. We have two signature programs that we are rolling out at the moment. One is called Net Worth Investors Guide, and I recommend you really get your feet wet in understanding what high net worth investors guide. And one of the things that I really want to talk about, is how this program can impact your life. First of all, the high net worth investors guide stands on four important pillars. One, you get to understand how to prepare yourself for success, the law of preparation. And if you don't understand this, the possibility exists that you can spend decades preparing yourself for success and not get there because of the fact that you're going about it in all of the wrong way. Our system have been tested and proven, all right? And that is what allow us to retire very early, and we can live on our retirement, but we are here providing service to you. We want to share that body of knowledge with you to ensure that you're able to take some of the steps that we would have done, perhaps even faster than we would have done, to accelerate your success. So you will learn what is the law of preparation. And this talks a lot about evidence based. Get the emotion out. A lot of people who want success, you're all emotionally caught up in that. Get the emotion out, get the facts in, get the data in the preparation. We'll go deep into that so as to ensure that you're making solid investment decision in yourself now to safeguard your future. So whether you're in business or you're the average person who wants to achieve more, understanding what is the law of preparation as we go into the high net worth investors guide is what's going to really help you to become a high net worth investor. The second thing that you will learn is what we call the law of application. Let's call the first part knowledge. To say knowledge is the keys that open the door to the world of knowledge. Really, you can have the knowledge, but if you don't apply it, all right, it doesn't make any sense. And so many persons today, you spend so much of your life in the preparation zone that you hardly ever cross over to the application zone. So the law of application really helps you to understand a menu of tools, processes, and systems that ought to be considered application. In your application, you want to know that you're building the right relationships. You want to know that you're getting visible, you're reaching the ideal client, you're making impact. It goes into a whole lot that really helps you to understand smart ways to apply yourself to optimize your level of success. So I'm going to recommend this program to you. All right, when you get into this program, you're going to learn so much. The fourth concept that you will take away here, the third concept, is how to manage your gear. The last thing that you want to do is to spend years in preparation, to spend years in application, building up your wealth, and not have a sustainable management program. You want to know how to manage, all right? How to manage, all right? And managing has a lot to do with you understanding strategic steps that you can take to not leave the crumbs on the table. And let me just talk about this a little bit. And I'm going to swing a little bit to the business standpoint. As a business person, if you're buying debt and you don't know what debt to buy, the best debt that you should have, perhaps you're not just leaving the crumbs on the table. You're leaving perhaps half of the pie on the table. And that is not prudent management of your resources. As a business owner, if you're buying debt and you don't know how to mitigate debt, again, you're not just leaving the crumbs on the table, you might be leaving three-quarters of the cake on the table. And that, again, is not prudent management, because the ability to mitigate is what will help you to better understand your principal balance against interest. It will help you to understand your debt life cycle. It will help you to understand smart ways of managing the debt life cycle so as to bring down the cost of capital, exit the debt portfolio early, and have so much more resources at your hand because of prudent management. I give you from a business standpoint here. This can be applied at a personal level too. And last but not least, we'll talk about wealth expansion. You don't want to get it, you don't want to manage it, you don't want it to sit as a non performing asset or as a depreciating asset, because money can become a non performing asset. It can also become a depreciating asset if you don't know what you're doing. You want to ensure that it is performing asset. So we will talk to you about wealth expansion. And some of the things that I mentioned earlier on are some of the things that we will definitely talk about in this program. Like, for example, can you take your excess liquidity and put it into a REIT? The possibility exists. Can you put it into ETF? Can you put it into Vanguard? Can you put it into stocks, bonds, and mutual funds? Which is best? Can you create independent cash flowing systems that can pay you perhaps much more than the stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, the ETF, and the Vanguard? Knowledge. If you have that body of knowledge, is going to help you to make smarter life decisions, smarter business decisions, smarter investment decisions. And the High Net Worth Investors Guide is really going to help you to get this and get it right. I'm going to leave one more. All right. I'm not going to go into it now. I'm going to pause now, but I want to talk about mastering the sales communication process, because if you're in business and in life and you don't like sales, that's a recipe for challenge. But I'm going to go into that shortly. I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Peter Scott, who is an expert in his field, and he will talk to us about family plan and personal life master plan. Peter, my friend, all to you.
Hey Gary, I was just listening to you and here just writing, the wealth of information that we can receive, and the listening audience. I just want to, when you come here to the competitive edge, make sure that you take your pencil and your paper with you to write, because you're not just getting just information that was grabbed overnight. These are information that has been thoroughly researched. And while I would say, I wouldn't say that I am an expert, the terminology expert. And I think it was Chevanet that said, the terminology that tend to goes with the expert is, okay, I've arrived. I know it all now. But what we do find, because even here as I sit, and I'm here learning, because life is a continual learning experience. You've never, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And so you're a student, and you're a forever student, and not a forever student where you're just constantly learning, but you are learning what to do. You're learning what to apply and how to apply and how to make that, one degree of change, that when you stretch that 1 degree of change out over a period of time, you realize that your life is moving in a better direction. And this is why we're here at the Competitive Edge, because we want to give you, our listening audience, that 1 degree of change. So no matter where it is, no matter where you are, so even as you're listening to Gary, and you hear him speak about all these positions that one ought to have had, depending on your age. Somebody can say, I'm nowhere there. And when somebody feels as if they are nowhere there, then they kind of go into that position where they feel maybe dejected, depressed, because all this should be done. And perhaps it is a person, at this time of the year, when they're doing their New Year's resolution, they're planning and they're thinking about what they want to accomplish and to achieve for the new year coming, the new time, the new period, 2024, that is a couple weeks away. And they're looking back and they're wondering, trying to check off those boxes of what have I accomplished for 2023. Depending on where someone might be, they can, whether they are feeling real good, giving themselves a pat on the shoulder, or they're feeling, well, I didn't make it, I did not make it as planned. No matter where you are today in that experience, right now you're at the right place. Because what we're just simply saying to individuals, and what I would like to communicate to the audience today, is that what it takes, no matter where you are, all it requires is a plan. If you're doing well, you want to do better. And how are you going to do better? What it requires is a plan. If you feel as if you are nowhere at all, and the prospects around you, things are falling apart, what you need is a plan. And so this is why we present to you the master plan. And in the concept of master planning is that one thing that I truly believe, it fixes everything. A good plan, it fixes, it put in retrospect, it put in trajectory, it put in the place where you are now a solution for everything, because all it is going to require is just time to navigate, time to really do that analysis. And Gary mentioned that word so many times in his communication a while ago, taking and data. All right, so master planning, there are 4 concepts that you want to take into consideration when you are dealing with a master plan. And the master plan has 4 dimensions. So this is not something that you're just going to wave a magic wand to fix. This is something that you're going to take some time to look into. And we suggest, especially at this time of the year, it's the great place. It's the best. It's a great position to be right now. So there are 4 concepts that you want to look at in your master planning. All right. So you want to look at substance, and you want to ask, what is a substance? When you ask that question, what is substance? What are systems? So I call it the 4 S's of life. All right, the 4 S's of life, because every dimension, no matter what is happening around you, is based upon these 4 concepts. Substance, and I'm going to make it as simplistic as possible. Substance has to do with the core of anything. What is the core values that you are dealing with? No matter anything that you're focusing at that moment, at this moment, your life, and we look at, when you're doing the master planning, the 4 dimensions that you are going to be examining is your family, your personal life, first of all, because everything is going to start with you. No matter where you are, what it is, because they says that you can't, if you're going to try to fix anything that is around you, a lot of times when we work on ourselves, it just so happens that everything around us seems to change, because when we improve. So if you're going to now work on, or when you're going, now that you are, bring yourself to that position where you are content, and you realize that something is happening and something needs to change. And Gary speaks a lot about not making emotional decisions. You don't want to just, okay, this is happening. Okay, things are happening now. I have a good balance. And now it's time to go, make that, use the excess of, as you're now at the end of the year, you have a lot of profits. Now let's go buy, let's go splurge. No, you don't want to do that. So no matter where you are, if you're in a great position, now how are you going to make that great position? So it's always going to come back to the personal master plan. It's going to look at what is the substance. What is the substance of what I'm dealing with right here? What is those core matters that must be dealt with? And when you begin to look at those core matters, it will begin to give you data. When you ask the question, when you ask the right question, when you take your paper and your pen out, because remember what you're doing now, you're planning and you want the right data. So when you ask the right questions, you will get the right information. So what is the substance of the situation that you're dealing with right now? What are the core? What is at the core of that condition? How do you dig beneath the surface to get to the very core of those conditions that is affecting your progress, or that which has caused you to reach to this point of profitability at this moment? What are the core things that enable you to do that? Then after you look at that substance, you want to check on your systems. What are your systems? Everybody needs a set of systems, and a system is an organ, something that is organized, orderly, and in an organized fashion. So what are those entities that are around you that helped you to be in that good position? Or what are the entities that are around you that were not supporting of you, that caused you to be in a bad position? What is the system? What are those support systems? What are those support entities around you that is contributing to where you are? When you ask the right questions, you will come up with the right answer. So now you're going to examine, and this is what planning is all about. You got to take into, you have to go into that evaluation where you are examining and you are looking at, as I said, your core, you're looking at your substance, now you're looking at your systems. You want to now go to substance, systems, structures. And what are your structures? Structures has to do with the way how things are fitted together. So if your systems is those entities that is guiding you, then your structure is going to look at how all of these systems are related. How are they interacting effectively with each other so that you are able to move in the direction that you want to go? And then now you're going to look at your strategies. And your strategies now is that overarching goal, the end result that you are looking to achieve. And if you're in a bad position, then you're saying, okay, your bad position, you want it to be what? And what are those goals and objectives that you will be laying out to take you there? All right. In all of that, you now have your basic premise upon which now you can look at your personal life, because you're going to create a design. Everything starts with you. And when we do that, what that does, it's going to put you in a position of leadership. And that is one system that is, or a component of life where an individual begin to understand that, hey, I have to take responsibility. No matter what it is that we are doing, I have to take responsibility for where I am. I can't be blaming this, I can't be blaming that. This is where responsibility lies in my hand. I have to, if anything is going to change, I will have to change it. And if anything is going to change, I will have to change. I want to tap into a little bit about what Gary was mentioning a while ago when he speaks about the finance and the debt trap and the income trap, and how individuals can navigate their way where these financial programming of life is concerned, wherever you are today. Because having a personal life master plan, and the importance of having a personal life master plan, one of the major elements that has to be discussed in your personal life master plan is the cost of life. Designing your personal life master plan, what is going to surface as you look at your substance, as you look at your systems, as you look at your structures, as you look at your strategies. Each component has a cost attached to it for it to function.
Yeah, Peter, I want to say something quickly on the cost of life.
Come on in.
Because as you say that, what comes to mind is that as you develop your personal life master plan, you're asking yourself, what quality of life do I want? What quality of life do I want for my spouse and my kid? And there's a cost for all of that, Peter.
Yes.
There is a cost. And in most cases, if you don't know the cost because you don't have a master plan,
exactly,
you set yourself up to live an average life. You subject your family to live an average life. And is that really what you want? And what you're saying to them is that they should want the best quality of life for themselves and for their loved ones.
And that's what it is.
It begins by looking at all of this. So I take that away from what you said. Go on.
Because that's what the core goes to. Because the core goes to what is the substance. What is this goes again? We say substance, right? So what is the substance of my life, and what is the substance? What are the things that I want to put in my life that cause me to live a substantial kind of life? A lot of times, Gary, individuals don't think about their lives that way. They just go from day to day without even thinking, let me what do I deserve? I'm going through life. What quality substance, what quality of life do I deserve? But Gary, while you were,
but Peter, that is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
That is so bad. I mean, can you imagine? You are the greatest asset the world has ever known, but in most cases, we have less than 50% of the global population pause a bit and say, this is the quality of life that I want, I'm entitled to, and I'm going to develop a master plan. I'm going to get all the expert that's necessary to help me to achieve this. And they make that commitment. I mean, the same way how you're going to commit to master, finance, and to master marketing, and to master all of these other things. You want to commit to master your life too, Peter.
Exactly.
And want to master your life.
And that's what it is. And if we do not, break it down to this, to actually examining, and this is what we're saying, everything that you spoke about, Gary, and it is going to come down to somebody writing, take the time out, because what I heard you mention several times is not making an emotional decisions. And we people in general tend to make, they feel and then they act on the feelings. They feel pressured, and I don't like the pain. I can't stand the pressure and the pain that they are.
But the pain is where you get the gain.
And that's
the pain is where you get the growth and the expansion.
The pain means that something is wrong. But then you don't just want to escape the pain. You want to understand what is the substance behind the pain. What are those core elements that is causing the pain? And when we're able to tap into that, then data, Data, information
Data.
is going to surface
Yes.
that you are now
Yeah.
able to make the right decision, make the right move.
I
Of,
love that. I love that because currently I have my team and also my son in marketing. And sometimes we would say these people are taking long to respond. And, sometimes because it take long to respond, you get a little, unresponsive. So I said, no, 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 no. Everything that is happening here, document it. So if it takes this time to get you to a government office, document it. If it takes this time to get you to the private sector, document it. You're creating data. So either write to me if you need to raise a voice in terms of what it takes to do business in various parts of the world. You can look at data. At least this is your data that you're using to help to make an informed and educated decision. And I do believe that what happens so often, Peter, people get caught up with the pain that they forget to see the pain as data, see the experience as things to be documented. So it is telling you what you need to do or not do, what you need to do better, um, perhaps develop a different strategy to achieve the objective. It's telling you all of that. But sometimes when you get so caught up in the pain, the lessons to be learned, you never learn it. So I love all that you're saying, and there.
it,
I trust it didn't cut you. Go
not at
ahead.
all, not at all, not at all. Because what we want to do, is to bring the kind of where a person is at the time. Because what happened is that even the point that you make, somebody is asking that said question even as I'm deliberating. So as you're able to just bring in and expand on that point, somebody got the answer that they were questioning in their mind at that point. And this is what we're saying to our listening audience, is that you have to be data driven. And data driven meaning that you're going to have to ask questions. Questions is one of the most powerful elements in arriving and moving forward from where you are to where you want to go. Data is everything is built upon data. And for you to now begin to design, as we're communicating to you now, your master plan, your personal life master plan, everything will, the box stops there. The common terminology is that the box stops there. And when you are able now to begin to assess, because where they, as coming back to what you were saying, Gary, about designing, understanding. Let me just look at my notes. It's so much the debt trap and the income trap, because somebody can be trapped in just that single source of income. And your single source of income, it will never be enough to really live that substantial or quality life that an individual needs to make. But there's another issue that I'm coming up here, Gary, is that in everything that we're saying, really there is an issue that has to be dealt with a lot of our listeners' mind, and it is their
Hmm.
relationship with money. Because in a lot of
Yeah.
cases, people have been trained that money is evil and money is bad. And so they only have enough, and they have set their lives in such a way to say that I only want enough that I can get by. And so
Well,
all.
you're right.
Mhm.
You're right, Peter, and especially when you come from a Christian background.
Yeah,
Um, and we talked about this many years ago. I grew up as a Christian, believing, everything that was taught as a Christian. But I grew up believing that money is the root of all evil.
yeah, yeah,
And as I started to get older, it was a tremendous struggle
right.
for me, to have a healthy conversation about wealth creation.
Mm,
All right. Can you imagine that you know business and you're in business, and but your relationship with money, your ideology of money is tainted by years of indoctrination that says money is the root of all evil. That is a trap,
Yes.
a
Yeah.
socialization trap that I had to work tremendously hard to escape. And I thank God,
I,
that uh, I discovered very early, because it's not an easy fighting to break loose of. Can you imagine that 20 years of your life you have been told the story? To break free of that that trap is not easy.
I'll
I
tell you
struggle
this.
with that for many years. So
I'll tell you
yeah, go
this.
ahead.
Because that's the whole design where I came up with a personal life. I begin to talk about a personal life master plan, because that is exactly what at the time I call it a personal life development plan. And it is my exchange with you now where you talk about master, and I realize that it is not just a development process, but you have to attain a certain level of mastery over it. And we made the tweet from development, because that is exactly what I realized in my life when I begin to look at myself, as we talk about doing the analytics, the self evaluation. I had to look myself in the mirror, and I have to begin to ask the tough questions. And Gary, you talk about 20 years. I was 30 years old when I realized that, hey, Peter, what's happening here? You spend the first 30 years of your life, what's going on? And after 30 years, when individuals should be really advancing on the youthfulness, the youthful years of their lives, I realized that I was nowhere near where I ought to be, because I have accepted a set of principles that was not working. Then the thing about it, Gary, is that it took me 5 years to unlearn everything, because I realized that when certain basic understanding, when things are not, if your wiring is wrong, you can't just get new wires to move forward. You have to
Yeah, you gotta
detach.
detox. You
You have
gotta
to detach
detox.
all of those wiring, and it took me 5 years to unwire 30 years of bad wiring. And it was a painful experience. And this is why we're encouraging our listening audience not to run away from the pain. Because if you're going to do better, you got to take time to
Truly embrace the pain.
understand
Yeah.
what got you to this place. It took me five
Getting
years.
a mentor, getting
Yeah,
a mentor, getting a coach, getting the right support system can
exactly. And
definitely
all
help
of
and
that is
fast track the
involved
people
because
pathway.
because
And
the
that's why we're doing what we're doing here.
exactly. And when we still tell people to get a mentor, somebody might go say, if I get a mentor, how am I going to do that? There are so many individuals that have written books that has taken their best thoughts and they have put it into books, and that is exactly what happened, because I read one book. It is one book I read in 2008. I read one book, a book by Stephen Covey, because I was in a position and I didn't know how. I didn't even know what was wrong. I just knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what was wrong. And this is why you need those systems now. This is when you talk about substance systems, because when you understand what is going on where your substance is concerned, got to look at the systems. What is supporting the substance for it to be what it is? And so I realized that, and you see, what happens again, Gary, is that life supports your decision. Because when you begin to ask the question, it's as if there is something miraculous about life. Life now begins to put you in vicinity where you can get those answers. And it was so I was just going through these moments, and it so happens that I found this book. Somebody had bought the book and they just put it into a closet, and I was there and I picked up the book and I looked at it. 7 Habits to Highly Successful People. I think that's what it is. 7 Habits of Highly
Mhm.
Successful People by Stephen Covey. And I drank when I read that book. Every word was just fitting to where I was at the time. And I begin to understand. And this, sorry about that. Are you still hearing me?
Yeah, Pete.
All right. So
Yeah, I'm
this is
hearing
where
you.
the
I'm hearing
concept,
you.
this is where the concept about, asking those questions and forward planning, the concept, because one of the things that Stephen Covey in that book spoke about, where I got the whole thing about, planning and master planning, where Stephen says you should attend your own funeral. In that book, he says, attend your own funeral. Go into your future, design the life what you desire. Go into your future and now look at your life, whatever your life, when you want to be successful, that success that you're trying to achieve, how long do you want to achieve it? Go into that future and do all that data, write all that data, write it down, and then you come back into your present and start to break it down into those smaller components of how you're going to get there. And it took me now, Gary, after 5 years of unlearning, then it now took me now another 5 years of beginning to put in the right principles, the right steps. So it took 10 years. Now, what we're saying to our listening audience is that it doesn't need to be that long. It was so because I was a part of a system, or well, yes, I was part of a system that nobody knew. Nobody knew. So we were just filtering the same information around and around and around, and I realized I got to get out of here, man. This is not. This is not. If I
You
stay
gotta
here,
get out.
we're gonna
You
drown.
gotta
All
break
of us are
free.
gonna drown together.
You
And
gotta break free from the social trap.
yes, yes, exactly,
Gotcha.
exactly. And I realized, and what happened is that when you make those decisions, life supports you, because life moved me from where I was at that time and
You,
put me
you,
in.
you know, yeah.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Peter, this is why I think this is about 8 years ago. I've written the book titled Competitive Edge. Competitive Edge, I'm forgetting the name, something along those lines. But guess what? One of the things that we talk about is helping people to become independent thinkers.
Right.
Because can you imagine that you're listening to the old ways of thinking that is not serving your interest because the realities of life is changing,
Mm-hmm.
but you continue to be compliant. Independent thinkers means that you have to be observant, you have to be analytical, you have to be able to get a clear mental picture as to where you're at and make informed decision based on the effective use of what we call your executive motor skills. One
Mm-hmm.
of the things that I mentioned in that book is that sometimes you may be wrong and coming against traditional systems,
Yeah.
but if you have a strong feelings that it is not serving you, why continue to be loyal to a system that is not going to
Yeah.
serve you? I think the
Yeah.
the main fact that you're nurturing independent thinkers is not to be the yes person, but to challenge things. And very often when you challenge things, you recognize that they're wrong. Stay away from that. You're wrong. Debt is the root of all money is the root of all evil. I mean, one of the things that I loved doing when I was pretty young is, uh, helping people. But
Right.
guess what? If you're poor, you can't help
You
people.
can't. You
You
can't.
know, you can't say, there's a poor person on the street and you're going to, build a housing facility, perhaps something like Section 8 and, provide something. Yeah, these are things you can do.
And
So we need a
and
fair degree of
yeah.
independent thought processes.
And this is where we are, Gary, because when you have the wrong concepts toward money, you can't even understand why it's not working. When you have the wrong mental, when there are viruses, and that's what I call it, when there are viruses in our psyche, where finance is concerned, because when all of everything that you have said in your disposition, about creating smart, creating even an
Investment strategies.
independent investment portfolio. Listen to what these words are: an independent investment portfolio. People don't think like that. the ordinary individual. And this is what we're
Yeah.
saying. This is why the competitive edge is here, because they
And that
already,
has, you're right. You're right.
yeah,
That has a lot to do with socialization again.
exactly,
It has a
exactly.
lot to do with socialization. So,
And it is something that is so easily, that can be done easily when they begin to make that plan, when they begin to understand substance. And they ask the question, basically, what substance of life do I want to live? You
yeah,
got to ask it. What
exactly.
is the quality of life? And it's
Of
what quality
life.
of life do I really deserve as a human being? As a human being, what quality of life? What is your substance? What quality of life do I deserve? And if we don't get there, everything that you have spoken, Gary, is just jargon. It's just gibberish. It is just going right
Yeah.
over the head, because we do not have, and this is where the thing about there's a scripture that says we must break up those fallow grounds. The fallow grounds is like in
Mm-hmm.
farming. You're going to pour water on the plant, and you're pouring so much water in now. But if the earth is hard, the water just runs off and find an area where it is going to be absorbed. So what we're saying to our audience here, that there are some, as I will say, there are some financial viruses that affects our mind in such a way where it just eats away. No matter what is being said, it is saying, you don't deserve that, you don't deserve that, don't listen to that, don't, that doesn't mean you, that is for rich people, that is not for you. And so if we are not, if we do not, if those fallow grounds are not broken up, where we can absorb, where what you
Mm-hmm.
are saying, the first thing is going to happen when the fallow grounds are broken up is somebody's going to say, that makes sense, that make a whole lot of sense. And this is the aha that we want our audience to have, where it makes sense. You may not even understand it, but there is something good about what you're saying. I like that. And once that
Yeah.
begins to happen, what is happening now is that absorbance is taking place. Something is going down in the heart of the individual. It is going down into the psyche. And once it begins to get into the area where it's going to go past our intellectual framework of dejecting because of so much information that we have been programmed the wrong way, and it begins to seep, move away, guess what? The mind, things are going to change begin to happen. And we now begin to, as I say, the master planning, you're going to begin to see things differently. And that's why the personal life master plan is so important, because you've got to see the world, because all the opportunities are there, Gary. It is there, it is there. But if we are not able to,
Yes.
if we're not able to see it and to understand that, because it's about proximity. And this is why we're saying even to our listeners right now, and this is why they're here. Some persons in the future may just typing on their computer and then come up to where we are right now. Why? Because they are now ready to listen. And when an individual, when the student becomes ready, the teacher, the mentor will show up. So what we're
Will
saying to
appear.
our audience, is that those core, those substance, what is your substance? You got to question your substance. What is deep within? Because you don't just want to live from the ill training and the bad socializations that you have absorbed over the years. What is it that you really want? What is it that really piques you? You hear certain things and it excites you. You don't know why, but you hear certain things and it just causes you to feel, give you that edge of excitement. Now, your core, when you ask your substance, and this is why, again, I keep saying that when you ask questions for data, because everything is data driven. And when you begin to absorb on deciding, understanding why, and all of those questions are master planning entities that must be, analyzed for you to really begin to take the steps moving forward. So we just want to tell people, I want to remind you today,
Definitely.
your
Definitely.
substance, dig down into your substance. your systems, your structures, your strategies.
Awesome. Or what I'm going to do, as I promise, that I will give one more concept. I do believe I want to recommend another tool for people to use, and that is to really position yourself to understand how to be a sales communication and professional. So I will take a break and then we'll look at what is corporate branding, what is personal branding, and everything that Peter just we are talking about here represent these two equation. Uh, just for the record, the book that I was hinting on early on, Peter, was Self-Application. Self-Application is a beautiful book. I think you have a copy of it, that really talks about how to get people to, become a master of yourself, take ownership of your life and try to break through some of the clutters, some of the myth that has been told about life and become an independent thinker. We'll now go for a break and we will be right back with a
The High Net Worth Investor's Guide, where art meets science. Explore tools, processes, and systems that empower you to accelerate your journey to a seven-figure business. Access smart funding solutions for 6 and 7-figure enterprises. Harness capital for multiple income streams. Master the art and science of debt mitigation to build wealth faster. Experience comprehensive business support to propel your success at a budget that suits you. The High Net Worth Investor's Guide is tools, processes, and systems that influences success. LLC. Our expert team specializes in enhancing your brand's visibility and connecting you with your ideal clients. We employ strategies that increase reach, leaving a lasting impact and driving client conversion. Trust and credibility are vital in businesses and excel in building them even with a limited budget. Our cost-effective approaches ensure you get the best results without overspending. Ready to boost your business cash flow? Contact us at 332-235-T99 and let 10X Branding and Marketing LLC guide you to success. Our focus is on elevating your visibility, which directly translates to growth. Experience the power of effective branding and marketing with us and witness your business thrive. Are you a rising star in business academia, public speaking, sports, law, medicine, or an influencer? Becoming a best-selling author can open doors to connect with top figures in various fields. Discover how the Bestseller Portal team can assist you. 1. Assisting clients in the creation, refinement, design, and publication of their books, biographies, and autobiographies. 2. Strategizing and executing promotional campaigns while navigating global markets and linguistic diversity to enhance the visibility of your literary works. 3. Nurturing our clients' transformation into esteemed public speakers and influential thought leaders. 4. Elevating your books into dynamic digital learning content. 5. Cultivating multiple streams of income from your literary works and beyond. Enroll today for the prestigious Bestseller Portal Annual Summit and position yourself as an eminent authority and trailblazer within your chosen sphere.
All right, welcome back, viewers. Peter, one of the things that we talk about a lot is the ability to sell. The success of every business ultimately rests on the shoulder of your ability to sell. The success of your life also depends on your ability to sell. And that's why Peter is talking about substance and systems and strategy. If your substance is not relevant to people, to institution, it's going to undermine how far you go. So there's a deeper layer to what Peter is talking about when he talk about your substance. Your substance is the years that you're going to be spent to do a master's degree, to do a first degree in marketing and business and economics and project management. These are some of the substances that he's talking about. But whatever that is, it must be relevant to people. So I just want to add that to what Peter is saying when he talks about substance. But I want to do a deep dive because I do believe that understanding sales, understanding marketing can give you a massive competitive advantage. And I'm going to try to unlock some things here. One of the things that we talk about in our program is what we call the sales objective. Now, what is the sales objective? The sales objective in our context represents how you want to be known, all right? Steps that you can take to be liked, how you can be trusted. These are some of the things: know, like, and trust. But what I want to do, I want to do a deep dive into this to really help you to get uh, a greater sense of what we're talking about. Because, sometimes when we talk about you being known, like, and trust, and these are barriers that you must break through if you want to come to that point of cash flow. If people don't know you, they puts a barrier, right? If they don't know you, they can't trust you. If they don't trust you, they don't invest in you. All right. So the know, like, and trust factor is important for us to talk about. As sales communication professional, you understand this. So with this, you're able to ask yourself, how do I want my corporate brand to be known? That's one. And how do I want my personal brand to be known? So we're talking here about corporate branding and personal branding. One of the things that we're talking about a lot now is that traditionally we find that many companies they focus a lot on corporate branding, but how important is the personal branding? I'm not going to go deep into that today, but when you have strong personal brand on yourself because you have built the business ecosystem to achieve this, guess what? It helps you to achieve so much more in the sales process. You may recall yesterday that I talked about the media also. As you think about how you want to be known, it's important to take the time to understand mass media, social media, the metaverse, and independent communication channel. Why? Because it is your understanding of these communication channel that is going to help you to achieve the know, the like, and the trust. And understanding them can help you to save money, time, and prevent you from stress. Now, I want to go a little deep dive. I'm going to be short here on this. How do you want to be liked? All right. And yesterday, if you recall, I talked about the art and the science of sale. Can you imagine that you have these tools in your hands and you know exactly how to use the tool to build healthy, productive relationship with critical stakeholders? Can you imagine? A sales communication professional, they have this. And guess what? You learning this, it can help you to be relevant to businesses. And that can be used as another source of income. So I'm not just talking this and going through this because of simply wanting to go through it. You can leverage the tools to
Mhm.
position yourself to have a secondary source of income. You don't have to leave your job, but you can leverage this body of knowledge when you truly understand it to your advantage. So to master what we call the like factors, it's going to take you to understanding people. Now, if you don't understand people, you don't fully understand how to make your pitch. All right, because the pitch is not necessarily about you. I keep saying it's not about your ego. Your pitch should be able to connect with people. And how do you connect with people if you don't understand people? So you need to spend time understanding people. What understanding people looks like. Do you have the data? And if you have the right data, it's going to really help you to build out the healthy relationship with the people. So that will help in both your corporate brand and your personal brand. Now, I'm going through this very quickly. It's much deeper than this, but I'm just going through it quickly. Now, you want to come to that point of trust. So you have something on how I want to be known, steps I can take to be liked. How can I be trusted? And I'm going to give you some essential tips here. The ability to deliver results is what's going to help you to be trusted. All right. The ability to deliver results. So when Peter work with you and he tells you about my substance here, I'm an accountant. My substance here, I'm a debt mitigation specialist. My substance here, I understand credit portfolio and how to manage credit. My substance here, he works with you on refining your substance. So the substance now becomes your MVO, your value offer. So you're now able to make a promise. So it says your ability now to deliver on that promise is what's going to set you up to start to be trusted. The ability to deliver results. So if you say, okay, I'm going to help to reduce your debt by 10%, you deliver, and you deliver consistently. And it's only by delivering consistently above and beyond the client's expectation that that element of trust is going to be birthed in. It's not trust is not something that you can buy over the counter. You have to labor, and in providing labor, the trust will start to build. But we can go deeper with this. The ability to deliver results consistently. Now, when Peter talk about substance, again, he's not only talking about delivering results one time or two time, because if you're not anchoring your substance, you're not going to be consistent. So Peter is talking about consistency in delivering results above and beyond the client's expectations. Substance. Do you have what it takes to deliver results consistently above and beyond the client's expectation? So this is some of the things that I want to take about. And guess what? What Peter is also saying to you is that you can become the author right here and right now of your life. And you can ask yourself, how do I want the public to know me? How do I want the public to see me? How do I want to be liked? How can I be trusted? These are things that you have control over. And you might want to shift the blame at 1,000 different ways to say that my circumstances doesn't give me any control over this. I want to say bull. You know the rest of the word, right? Bull, right? Peter is saying to you, when you bring yourself to that point where you can have a master plan, it is giving yourself control over your life. It's saying to yourself, I'm taking my life into my hands and I'm going to mold it and I'm going to shape it because I want the competitive edge. Whether you're in business or whether you want to build a strong personal life. And I'm saying to you again, understanding sales communication processes is going to help you to get that competitive edge. And perhaps as you think about your master plan, you should also incorporate some of these tools that we're talking about. The ability to sell yourself. The ability to sell yourself is so, so important. And Peter, that requires a lot of strength and character, confidence to be able to do that, because we know that in the real world, people try to impose their will on you. People may say to you, don't talk about this. You sound too smart in this way. You're going to, bring eyes, all of the worrying eyes at you. They try to instill fear. They try to, do all of these stuff. But I'm saying you can cut through all of this. Once you're analytical and you understand the environment in which you're operating with, and you can, based on your master plan, position yourself to come into greatness, position yourself to master your competitive edge. So I'm going to end on this note, Peter. I trust that today you would have found the information useful. Today we talk about your income audit analytics. You need to stop making emotional decisions when it comes to your finance and when it comes to your life. and get with professionals that can help you to make solid business and personal life choices. You need it. All right. Peter also talked about, substance and systems and strategies, how important it is. And last but not least, I spoke about the importance of, I also talk about learning from the high net worth investors guide and also learning from the master the sales communication process. So you can go to the website, which is thebestsellerportal.org, and you can get these books on that portal and so much more. All right. So Peter, any last thoughts before we wrap up?
Yes, definitely. And it is something that you said a while ago that, I want to bring our audience to know. You mentioned the elements, the external elements that will, tend to want to threaten the individual when they begin to design their corporate branding or their
Yeah,
um,
as you said it, sometimes the challenge can even come from within, as you said early on.
and that is a
Can I do
co-
this?
and
No,
that is
I can't.
and
You
that is
know,
exactly what I want to say, because it doesn't
you
matter
know,
what's happening outside. It is what is
yeah,
happening here.
it's right. Peter, quickly, right? I could recall many years ago while I was studying, I was going through a writing course, right? One of the things that we were taught is conflict with nature,
uh,
conflict with society, and conflict with self,
and with yourself,
right?
self.
And so that was an eye opener as we started to look at conflict with self
Right.
because it is a real thing.
It is.
And I
It's
think that
more real than
many
anything else
persons,
because it's perception now.
exactly, exactly. Go on, all to you.
Yeah, because the point we want to make is that, and why we stress the personal life master plan so much, is because when you can answer the basic question, as you're alluding to, personal branding, and the personal branding comes out of the answering the question, the who am I, and the personal branding goes even deeper than saying that I am a doctor, I am a lawyer, I am a whatever the profession it is, or the services that we communicate.
Peter,
Uh,
I want to share this
oh,
real quickly before I forget it.
come on.
Personal branding,
Yeah,
personal branding. The strange thing about it is that we all are going through personal branding. But guess what?
continually. Yes.
Guess what? Guess what? But we may not be, many persons are not the author of branding themselves. It's
Right.
being their personal brand is being developed by everyone else but themselves. And we're saying that it is time, if that branding is not serving you, to pull back and
Mm,
take it back and
mm.
mold it and shape it. So I love that. Go ahead, Peter.
So when somebody is developing their personal branding, and they're asking the question, because it all boils down to the personal life master plan, it is going to boil down to cutting through all the layers. And what is the layers that we're going to cut through is the first thing. When we ask the question, who are you, the double-sided question, who are you and who am I? So you're going to look yourself in the mirror, and you're going to ask yourself, who are you? And you're going to see what that image is going to project back toward you. Then you're going to sit by yourself, preferably in a place where no distractions are, and you're going to ask yourself that internal question, who am I? Now, the first things that are going to come to your mind, you're going to look at, yes, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a mother, I'm a teacher, all the professions, or all what we do for people. But those are the things that we do for people, which really is a corporate branding matter. Those are corporate branding, because even us ourselves, we are corporate individuals. Those are things. But when we come down to the personal level, who are you at a personal level? Not what you do for others now. Even a mother or a father, that is what you're doing for somebody else. What are you doing for you? Who are you when nobody else is looking? Who are you if you should lose that big, whatever that big thing is? If you should lose that position as the doctor, the lawyer, the president, the CEO, if you should lose all of that, you are still somebody. Who is that person? And that is where character, as you mentioned, now begins to surface. And the basic characteristics of the person, who are you at a, what's your character? What's your love content? What is your peace content? What's your gentleness? What is your kindness? All of these elements that formulates who we are as a character, because there are some suits that are stronger than some, that cause the person to be who they are. And at that level now, you are now begin to design that structure, that strong core, that nothing else, no matter what happens in our world, that stands on such a foundation that you can break through, you can deal with, you can overcome, you can triumph over, no matter what life throws at you. And so, in essence, what it now come, as you use the word being, you have to know design, you got to know author, you have to know become an authority in that aspect of who you are. Because here is what is going to happen now. There are doctors and there are doctors and there are doctors. But now that core character of who you are is going to make you to become a special kind of doctor. It's going to cause you to become a compassionate. There's certain amount of compassion that is going to define you from everybody else in the marketplace. And now you're going to have this pull factor, as you mentioned, Gary. You're going to be so powerful from your character to be able to pull who the people are that you were designed to serve. And at that level, you have got to document that. So you have got to author that. You got to design that, because that is going to now contribute to your community, the communication, the sales communication process. As you mentioned, those are the elements now that you can be in a place where there's 1,000 doctors or 1,000 teachers, and you are the one, and somebody will walk past or drive past everybody else, and they will come to you, because the core of who you are, the substance of who you are, is so bright, is so shining, that it becomes an attraction that pulls and elevates everybody else who are around you. That's my final word there, Gary.
All right. Thanks again, Peter. What I will do, I will close off with some quotes. I love everything that you said, but the quotes that I'm going to use is going to coincide with some of the things that you said. And as time progresses, we will examine some of these quotes. Become a subject matter expert. And that ties into your substance. Become a subject matter expert. The second recommendation, become market oriented and market sensitive. If you want to have your competitive edge, become market oriented and market sensitive. Third, master your value proposition. Master your value proposition. Don't just have a proposition, master it.
Mm-hmm.
How to master it? We'll tell you about that later on. Master your sense of self and self-awareness. And that's something that most of us, we struggle with that at some point of our lives. But when you reach the point that you can really master who you are, and that's where the master plan comes in, tremendous shift takes place in your life. Master your self-confidence. You can have a sense of self, but then you don't have self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You want to master self-confidence too. So when the world say you can't do this, you just look at them with a smile and you say, I'm going to prove you wrong. Self-confidence. Apply yourself with mastery. Apply yourself with mastery. And that reminds me of the law of application. How do you apply yourself? It's about building relationships. It's about visibility. We're going to go into all of that as time, progress. Become a master influencer. I would say we all take influence. But the last thing that you want to do is just to be a person taking influence. Build yourself up with enough substance, as Peter would say, so you too can give influence. You can be an influencer. I trust that when you make that choice, you become a positive influencer, like we are here. Next, I want to say, master the art of speaking to inspire. And as you can see, Sometimes we come out here and we're academic. We talk all the textbook jargon, but sometimes you gotta lighten up. And that's what we were accustomed to it here. Speak to inspire and motivate. I think the soft skill in leadership is so important. And so I just want to, leave on those notes, Peter. I think sometimes, we get so caught up that leadership is about being tough. But I think that you can be a gentle giant. It's not that you're going to be so soft that, you don't know when to bring out the authoritarian you, but you can be a gentle giant. There's no, hey, if you mash it a little too hard, you can roar. You can get a lion roar, but you can be the gentle giant. So, fans, I trust that you would have enjoyed today's program. And today we had Peter Scott, Paul. He slept a little beyond the bell, so he will be back here tomorrow. But we had Peter, who did an excellent job. He represented the Legacy Chronicle and Publishing Initiative. So, in the event that you want your life story to be told, and Peter is the person to connect with. He has a number of books that he has written for many pastors and many entrepreneurs. And if you want to see some of those book covers, again, I want to encourage you to go to the bestseller portal. And when you go to ebooks and you scroll down to the bottom, you would see Legacy Chronicle. His platform is Legacy Chronicle. You will see some of the authors that he has been working with for some time. So Peter is really putting his best foot forward to help to give people a voice. People that may have their story to tell, but just don't know how to tell it. And Peter is that person that helps to capture their essence, their life, and put it into book form and so much more. So go to the bestseller portal. You can go to ebooks, scroll down to the bottom on your left-hand side. You would see Legacy Chronicle, and you will see some of the books that Peter and his team has worked on. There's so much more that I want to say, but I want to just say this: keep following us. There's a lot of giveaway that is going to be coming your way. We're in the period of Christmas. We want to sponsor a few persons to come and be part of the High Net Worth Investors Guide. This is a pretty expensive program, but we can sponsor you. This program is going to run for between nine months to a year. The cost of the program is about 50,000 USD. All right, but we can sponsor a few persons. So keep following, and you will be learning so much more about how you can be part of this community, how you can benefit from this community to make impact on your life. So with that, I want to wish all of you a tremendous day, and do have a productive day. Remember, it's not what the world say about you, it's what you say about you. All right. It's not about blaming anyone else for where you are, because if you keep blaming persons for where you are, it's just a way of excuse, and take ownership. All right. Accept that you're right where you are, because that's where you want to be, whether by the action that you're taking or the inactions that you're taking. Take ownership. All right. So when you take ownership, you get your competitive edge. You lay the foundation. So with that, my friends, do enjoy the rest of the day, and see you guys tomorrow. Be blessed, my friends.